Peace, Islam, Hotep, Namaste. My name is Auset, Mayat Edu Bay. And once again, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to my humble abode for part 8 of our Culture and Refinement series entitled The 7 Units. Now, let's get started for our weekly event that we want to speak about. I would like to go over the 7 units once again. Unit number 1, how to sew. How to sew. How to put together a lovely fabric or any piece or accessory you would like to make. Tablecloth, dress, anything, a scarf, something beautiful for the spring which you would like to add into your wardrobe or around your household. How to sew. Unit number 2, how to cook. I myself am a vegetarian, so I like to cook organically most of the time. Sometimes I will eat a little chicken, but most of my diet consists of vegetarianism. Very important in this day and time, changing our diets. Unit number 2. Unit number 3 is how to clean and how to organize and keep your home in a good orderly fashion. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Unit number 3. Unit number 4, very important, which I will be expounding on today, how to take care of your children. Unit number 4, very important. Unit number 4, and I'll be adding on to my topic in correlation to unit number 4 as to what I will be discussing, dealing with our current events. And unit number 5 is how to take care of yourself. How to take care of yourself. After that, how to take care of your husband. Men, how to take care of your wife, or altogether your consort. Just another name for husband or wife, or who your mate or partner is. How to take care of your consort, basically taking care of self first. When you know how to take care of yourself, you will become a better husband or wife or a spouse or a consort to your significant other and to your children. Very important there. That is unit number 5. Unit number 6, how to act at home. How to act at home could be how to act around the house, your domesticated area, how to act out in the community. We have a lot of things going on in the, world of social media that deals with this. So we're going to expound some on that too as well, and tie it into how to take care of children. How to act at home. And last but not least is unit number 7. How to act abroad, how to act in another country, learning geography. As we know, geography was taken out of education in the public school system, and a lot of people don't know where any country is. They know Iraq and Iran, and still some people may not know even where that is on the globe. So we're going to be discussing that as the weeks go along. Different countries have different cultures. What goes in our society may not go on in another culture. So when we travel abroad, it's very important as you acquire your passport to travel overseas to learn what that country's culture is. Very important in this day and time as well. So that's unit number 7. As I stated, I would like to keep continuing on as an educator, considering and going in more in depth with our unit number 4, how to take care of children. And we're going to talk about one of the hottest topics in our news right now for the past week or so now. It's been going on for a couple of months now, though, and it was dealing with the incident in Steubenville, Ohio. Now, I'm pretty much familiar with Steubenville. Steubenville, Ohio is basically where I'm from, the state of Ohio. I'm from Cincinnati, and I went to college in my area there, and I was roommates with one of my good friends who was from Steubenville. And she attended college with me in Ohio. She's still a good friend of mine today. And I went home with her for one weekend to Steubenville. And Steubenville is a small little town, as they stated on the news. It's a steel town. It used to be a steel town. But a few years ago, I think it's been a few years now, for a while, the company started to leave the area, which happened to a lot of our cities here in the United States. And it basically was a steel town. It's basically now they're into sports a lot, as far as with the high school. That keeps the the education center there keeps running off of that. But there is employment is kind of high there because the steel was a major provider for the families, but now that has left. So it's a small little town. I believe at one of the actresses and actors from there, I believe Dean Martin and Doris Day, I believe, are from that part of Ohio, from that little small town. So once again, we're going to center on what happened with the youth there and the dilemma that is significant, that it signifies for throughout the country as a whole. And first, I want to start with reading something that I wrote. And I'm going to title this, How to Take Care of Our Children, Part 8, dealing with the dilemma in our communities, as also what happened in Steubenville, Ohio. And I want to just start out by saying the particles of the universe must be restored by woman, placing herself upon the throne of the universe. And most people are saying, Sister, I said, why are you saying that? Why are you reading that? The particles of the universe must be restored by woman, placing herself upon the throne of the universe. And basically, this deals with woman as the center of the universe, because we are the first nurturers of our children. A child, no child, cannot get here but through the divine nature of creation, which comes from the woman, or God, or the goddess of the self that we entail as women. So we're going to deal with that, because we are, no matter who the mother is, a child has to start out somewhere from the mother. Someone teaches a child, whether it's the child becomes adopted along the way, or has some type of figure, someone that has to nurture and guide it in the right way. So that's very important. The particles of the universe must be restored by woman, placing herself upon the throne of the universe. So that means we are the first teachers, and the woman is the right frame of mind. She can be able to teach her children and go on to produce great thinkers of knowledge in our society, to continue on the process of birth and regeneration under not just physically, mentally, and spiritually. And these are things that are lacking in our culture now. Not just the third level chakra that's being demonstrated all throughout our country today. Most people are on a third level in dealing with metaphysics. The third level is the red zone. That's the lowest nature of self, the third zone. And we see this exemplified throughout all of our society today. And it's affecting, I'm not saying all children, but a lot of children being affected by this third chakra that has been present, especially in our world today, especially in Western civilization, which entails the side of the globe that we're on. As far as exemplifying culture, it's lost away. There is no culture right now as far as in our society, because we see reflected so much lower level things that are going on around our culture. And so this thing that happened in Steubenville was very important, because it basically deals with, as an educator and as a mother and grandparent, I actually can see where this is like a real low level situation now that's dealing with our youth. And now we have to bring it back up again. Those of us who are taking the time and the effort to try to make a change with the shift. And we saw where it was a girl, she was 16 years old. And I believe this incident happened back in August of last year during the summer months. And she was from West Virginia, and Ohio and West Virginia are connected to each other. They're not that far. So I guess she was visiting in the area, some relatives. And some of the research that I did went more in depth. I watched CNN, and then I went online the past few days to get more information on what was going on with this situation, with this young lady, 16-year-old girl that was from West Virginia, visiting Steubenville, Ohio. And apparently around in August, she said she was raped. The not actual rape. That's what the media was saying, but they also used this language where they said that it was called digital penetration, which means that she was assaulted manually through the hands of these gentlemen, of these young men, basically. But there were some other things when I watched the video. The video is still up right now. You just type in Steubenville incident, you know, that type of thing, it'll bring it up. And this video right now is still there, and it shows some of the other gentlemen. The other gentlemen, I guess they did not right now get prosecuted, but the thing is, they're saying that Mike DeWine, the attorney general, is saying he's going to go back in and prosecute or look at the situation with some of these other individuals that were granted amnesty. This video is still up with this particular gentleman that did take part in it as well, some type of way. He has a video up. It's about 1 million people. It almost has around 2 million hits right now. So a lot of information I went on. I got some information straight, as they say, from horse's mouth in that community, so I could be exact and more on point with what I want to say. And basically, the girl was out over several period of days. I found out that she was going to certain parties with these football players, but she was mainly, I guess, so-called dating or associated with the brother, the young man that was named Malik. And she trusted him, from what I was reading and what I was putting together, when they went to these parties. But apparently he got, I guess, suckered into the same type of behavior, like I'm saying, dealing with the football culture, the culture of this football, the low-level culture of football, I want to say. Because as I stated, this is what most of the people in the community, they live for the football. So the football in that community, and a lot of other communities too, sports are really put on top. And then you have the elders in the community, you have the people that work under the football emblem. And these are some of the children of these young men that play these sports. This macho-ness is prevalent as well. So I'm going to deal with both aspects, not just the young girl herself, but also the young men too, because they both need guidance. Both individuals, both groups, the male and the young females, need guidance in our society today. And that guidance must deal not just as physical. They must know who they are physically as a person, deal with their bodies, their spiritual selves, their mental physiques. Everything must come all into one. But the one thing I know is lacking in this society right now is spirituality, and that's not dealing with religion, because religion tends to be judgmental, and I deal from a spiritual, metaphysical point of view in doing my teachings and my outlook as an educator in society today. So let's center around the female. She, like I said, was visiting for a few days, or in August, visiting someone. She was under some person's care. Now, she had a parent. The parent made a comment about what the young men had done. And I understand that very well. I have a daughter and a son. They're grown now. And I also a grandparent. So, you know, I've been very, I guess, so-called, I guess the universe has really favored me as how to my children turned out. I've been, you know, as they say, blessed in this situation as far as how my children turned out. But it wasn't easy sometimes, but it was basically with guidance. The guidance has to be passed down. Like I had guidance from my parents. My parents guided me. And then I guided my children. And they're turning on to their children. Not to say they were perfect, but there was some type of balance and structure that was imminent inside of myself, where I didn't allow myself to become prey to what was happening inside of the society. And I believe that's what's happening now. A lot of parents are being engulfed into what society says what's right, what, you know, what society as a whole is saying, instead of really looking within themselves spiritually and holistically in how they want to upbring their children. As an educator, being in parent conferences and dealing with children in schools and different schools that I've taught throughout the country, a lot of parents in the meetings have said that they've been overwhelmed, is the word, with going to work, whether they're male or female, whether they're together with their husband, whether they're separated, whether there's no male, maybe there's a young man raising his family. I mean, I want to keep it all across the board, because there's all different fabrics of society now where children are being raised. Foster homes. I mean, this is all different aspects which affects children. But I'll leave this one gentleman, Malik, what I was reading, found out that he was living, or he was adopted by a white family, or Caucasian, I say Tamahu. white, Caucasian, same thing. Tamahu is the spiritual concept of the word white. So it's Tamahu was living with a Caucasian family that had adopted him. I know his father spoke yesterday about some of the things that happened to his son, and he did say with a little short time that he had to speak that he wasn't always there for his son. But then I found out he meant something even more in depth, because his son Malik was adopted by a white family there in Steubenville. I found out he was being raised by a white family. So basically all these children are under some type of guidance, some type of way, in some type of family where they were to be nurtured. And I'm not blaming anyone, but we can see now the dilemma that is at hand in our society across the board with all families. It doesn't matter now. There's a big dilemma with the youth now in our societies, period. So that's why I made the point when I first read, the particles of the universe must be restored by woman, placing herself upon the throne of the universe. And I say this because when the young girl went to these football games, when I read the story, she really respected the Malik to be under his, she really liked him, they said. So when he actually fell victim to the society of the football society, which he was in at the party through those days that he was courting her or dating her, whatever their situation was, he fell victim himself of what he thought he would not fall victim of. Because when he really got really upset, and the other boy did too, the Trent, but mainly the brother Malik, he became really, really upset. He's a big guy, and he kind of fell over because he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But they said in the beginning they showed no remorse because they thought it was fun. Even though they knew they were in court, they never thought that they would get sentenced at all. And then once they handed the sentence over, it was a light sentence, and I believe that was good for them to give them a light sentence, but they still have to have remorse. And then that brought out the remorse in them, because at first they didn't know how serious it was, because it went online. Like I said, a lot of these videos are still online for those that haven't went on to see it, and they were just talking. The talk was so low down about when they actually the physical act of what they did upon this young lady. And then they went on the internet, and this one video I saw today, this one particular young man, he was a part of the Steubenville football team. His picture, he's showing his picture and everything. It's got 1 million hits. And he's talking about, oh, she was dead. She was dead like Trayvon Martin, he said. She was dead like Kaylee Anthony's daughter. And it's on here right now unless they pull it. And this young gentleman, he was just like talking about making mockery of what he saw in that situation when those young men were mishandling this girl. And that really made me really angry. But then at the same time, I was beginning to see how far society has failed, because a lot of our young men, they think this way about women, to actually think this way. He was actually saying, oh, she was dead when Trent and Malik did this certain thing to her, whatever. Oh, she was dead as a doornail. And then one gentleman, they weren't showing their pictures in the background. It was just this one little guy. He was talking on the interview, filming himself about what had happened with his boy, so-called crowd football crew. And he didn't show them, but I could hear some of the voices, some of the things they were telling him. And he was saying, in the background, this other little gentleman, I couldn't see him though, like I said. And he was saying, man, what if that one day you're going to get married, you're going to have a daughter, you want nobody to do your daughter that way. And then somebody in the background said, oh, she going to be just as dead too or something. And then the other one said, he said, man, that ain't right. It was somebody in the other background, like I said, it was a bunch of them. This one particular, he was a white male. He was filming himself. He was in the room with other people in the background. And he was making most of the statements. Oh, she's dead. I ain't worried about it. I get married one day. I don't care about nothing happening to my daughter. He was saying stuff like this. I'm like, wow. I said, he don't really realize the words that he was saying are going to come back to haunt him. But one day, unless he don't get himself together and repent for what he did, even though right now he's not being hauled into court, which is a possibility that they may be, because they said the state attorney general, he's looking at the ones that were given immunity. And that absolutely has to be dealt with as far as the law was concerned. I'm all for that, because I feel like if they all took part in it, that's the way I was raised. That's the way I taught mine. If you partake with somebody, even if you sit in a car and the person goes inside and steals something or does a bank robbery, the fact that that person is in the car, they're still susceptible to it too, even though they didn't do the physical part. As long as they were a sound mind and body and they weren't kidnapped, they weren't shot at, made to do anything like that, they thought about it in their own mind that they knew it was wrong. So that concept of dealing with that video really made me angry, because with the football scene, the sports scenes, and the different sports that are played here in America, mainly football, and some of basketball, there's been some incidents and things like this, but mainly it's a lot to do with this football situation. These organizations too, even fraternities, I've seen it done, where there's certain, when I was in college, there were certain girls that would go to these football parties, and then they be like, we might be there, me and my girls or something, we there, we chilling, whatever, we ready to leave, we all gonna leave out in packs because we all with each other. And there's one certain girl, and you can hear him saying, oh, we're going to do this and stuff to her. They called it running a train. That's what they called it when I was in college. And there was this one specific girl that she was very smart. And I'm not going to say her name. She's from Ohio too. Very smart. I don't know where she is now. And she was in the engineering class. And she lived in the dorm that I was staying in. And that night, talk was the next day through my other roommates. My roommate from Steubenville, a couple of the roommates I knew that lived in Ohio at the school I went to. They started telling us about what happened that night. We all went back. You know, we left to go home. We was in packs. Like, come on, girl. We gonna do whatever, you know. We flirting with the guys and everything, too, talking to them. But they're respecting us because they know what type of women that we are. That's what I'm saying. Women have to know how to conduct themselves when they are in these crowds and things like that, when they do go to parties or whatever. But this girl's only 16. I was in college. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do a lot of partying when I was in high school. You know, I chose not to. I mean, I was raised that way. I just didn't, you know, I wasn't very social. I was social in high school to a point. I went to the prom, things like that. But I wasn't very social in college either. I mean, I was more about doing, you know, getting my business together, working my little part-time job, you know, making sure I stayed in tune. You know, I had a boyfriend, you know, one boyfriend that I liked, whatever. But and after that, I got married out of college, you know. So I married like the second man that I met became my husband. So and that's how I chose that for myself, because I didn't want to be seen as that type of a woman, because I knew that's not the route that I wanted to go. And I instilled that into my daughter. Also, is dealing with my son, you know, though they had father in their life too. Like I had a strong father and a strong mother. Even though she died when we were very young, my father was a strong disciplinarian, and he showed love. He took care of us. And he made sure we stayed on point and growing up, so that we tried to do the right thing while we were growing up. I mean, he raised us in the right way. Even though my mother died, we were young. He stayed with us. And that's why I'm the strong woman I always say in my videos that I am today. And I was able to raise my children the correct way because of the background. And I came from a strong mother and a strong father. It was handed down through the generations, and that has been severed a lot. You know, for whatever reason that it has with other people. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying that now we all need to come together, those of us that want to see the change come about. Not in a judgmental way or religious way. And try to get to the root of what's going on in our society with our youth. Because the youth are absolutely our future. So you can't talk about the youth and not look at the background from where they came. Like they say, the fruit don't fall too far from the tree. So that gives us some semblance on. It starts with parenting. Whoever was there parenting these youngsters. Why was this young lady out so late? And they said that it was not just for one night. It took place. It was summertime, so I guess these parties were going on regularly. Then I read something about one of the houses, a couple of the houses where the parents that sponsored or had these children give these parties were actually some of their children were involved in the actual incident that happened with the young girl. Took place at some of these parents' houses. So that got me thinking, now, why are you, and it's summertime, right? Why are you letting your children under 16 go to an unsupervised party, wherever that adult was there? Why wasn't an adult there? I'm just saying we need to go deeper into the situation. Okay, the young men, okay, they got what they got, a year or two sentencing that they were given. Okay, they do deserve that. The young lady, she didn't deserve that. But at the same time, who was her protector? Not just the football players and the elders fell. Whoever tutelage she was under, that's all I'm saying. As this young girl was allowed to go out each night. No one checked her. Who was the adult that was there that should have checked her and told her no? You know, they said she was from West Virginia. That's all I knew. And then some of the stuff I read online was saying that she frequented football players. She liked to be around football players. Is there a father in her life? Where's her mother? Is her aunt raising her when she was in Steubenville for the summer? All these things, as an educator, these are the things that I'm questioning, you know. Because if she was in my class and she was showing that type of behavior, those boys were acting out in my class, they'd have definitely been dealt with. We'd have been in circles. We've been having discussions and things like that, which I'm known for that and doing that in my community. Anybody would tell you, okay, that's the type of teacher I am. Because I get these children together and I get them thinking about their behavior. And they must know and feel confident that they can come to me and that I won't judge them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying I got it going on all this. I just love doing the things that I do in the community, wherever I'm at, whatever city that I'm in. As an educator, teaching in public schools, what I'm doing now, doing my own online thing, teaching our youth, that type of thing. So it's just a blessing to be able to actually help in this situation. So now, dealing metaphysically, this is where the education system has changed. You know, because I know still people are going to still want to send their children to public school and these type of things, but it can't be done because the parents have to be given a certain way of educating themselves. Like in unit number 5 deals with the self, that you got to learn how to take care of yourself. Because if you don't know how to take care of yourself, how are you going to learn how to be a better parent? How are you going to learn how to stop making some mistakes that you're making for yourself and be a better reflection of light for your children and for your grandchildren? Because this is going on and on now. It's like a broken record. It's like a sore that's festering now in a lot of families. I ain't saying every family, but a lot of families now. And it's like busting now. It's like busting out at the seams all over, like a sore, just busting out everywhere. And it's affecting every fabric of our society. Once again, like I said, we take it from the root. The parent, the child is born. Like I said before, the child is born. Who's giving birth? The mother, the woman. The woman is the first teacher. There's no fact, if, and, or about it. And that's one thing that they didn't go in to talk about on the news, because I know they got their itinerary they got to deal with. They kept dealing with the men. They never kept saying, oh, she didn't deserve it. Of course not. She didn't deserve to be treated that way. I'm just saying for her protection. We know the community failed. They said that. The football elders or whatever failed. Those parents failed. I'm just going to say it straight out. Those parents failed. Whoever they was under, they failed. As far as those young men, they were let down too. We can't just say, oh, they got the time. Oh, that's right. Okay, that's good. They need to be locked up or whatever. That's what they get. Okay, that's what they get. They're 16. They're still not considered an adult yet. What are the influences in our society? We have the media. We have the education system. Entertainment. And we have sports. On top of that. But on top of all that, we should have our spirituality and guiding our youth. And that comes from the parents gaining more knowledge in who they are. And that deals with eating the right foods, thinking the right thoughts, not watching a lot of TV every day, sitting down more and talking with your children just because they have a cell phone. They got a little Kindle they can walk around, communicate with you. That's all good. But what about the nurturing? The nurturing is what's missing. That's all I'm saying. And the young girl, she should have been protected. Why was she allowed, once again, to go to these parties night after night and not stop? Nobody said, you can't go out tonight. You know, you've been out enough. Is that what she was doing? Who was there? The elder. I'm talking about the elders now. The elders. What elder was there in the community say, like, why? Why are you keep going over from West Virginia, wherever she was doing? Who she was staying with in Steubenville, whoever. So they said, what's going on? What's going on with you? Could she confide in that person to tell them the things and the acts that were going on at that time? While she was going party hopping and all this type of thing? Okay, as a young woman, women need to be guided. Our young women need to be guided. And that's what was not discussed of what I was saying in the media. I'm not vilifying them. I know they got to stay on the itinerary. But that's where people like us come in, where we can be able to discuss our views and give our critique on what must be done in our communities. So these are the things that are significant right now. And Judge Hatchett was on earlier today, and she said she felt like it happened for a reason. Out of all the bad, out of this some good will come. And that's what I believe, because now we have to take a look at who we're educating our children. What type of person are they? Football, who these coaches are. How do they perceive women? How do they look at women when they're dealing with our young men playing these sports? All these things must be dealt with now. And so we cannot continue all the falling down, all the negativity, all the crying out that our youth are actually trying to show us. Like when a young man broke down and cried. I mean, he's a big guy. He's cried. I mean, on CNN, it kept showing it, you know. The other young man, he started repenting too after the fact. But who was there to guide them? Because the mother had said if they had came to her, of the young girl, they had came to her maybe and sat down and talked with them, it might not would have gotten that far. But they never came. They posted up the videos on YouTube. They made fun of the girl. You know, constant stuff being said. This type of thing. So the mothers, they had no choice but to go to court with it. In that sense, I don't blame them. You know, then they realized, like I said, they knew it was real to them then. See, our children nowadays, they think everything is a game. And it's their upbringing that deals with this, because they're taught this. And a lot of parents are saying, well, I want to be their friend. I feel bad if I got to tell them no. I'm like, well, hold up. You feel bad. Or that's where you come in as a teacher. I had one of them say, well, you the teacher, you supposed to, this type of thing. I said, oh, no, ma'am, I'm here to guide you, maybe to show you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And show you the way with your child while we had these conferences, what's going on, whatever, in the right way, try to guide you. But you're the parent at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's up to you. But we're there to lend guidance and counseling in the correct manner without being judgmental. So that's what I feel is needed. And the girls of our society really do need to be guided in the right way, because the woman is the first teacher. There's no way around it. This girl's going to become a mother one day herself, probably. And she's going to have children. Now she has this experience on her. What is she going to tell her daughter or her son? Perhaps she'll learn from this herself and become a better guide and nurturer of her children as she gets older and learns responsibility. Nothing happens for any reason at all. And one more thing I want to close with, I want to discuss something that happened to me. I just thought about it. When I was in high school, I think it was my last year of school, I went to a neighborhood party. And my brothers and them had told me to call them when I got done, because it's near around the corner where we live. My father finally let me go. He let me go out to a little party. It was on New Year's. I think it was my last year, junior year of school, senior year, something like that. My brothers were officiating with me. I was supposed to call them. They were going to come pick me up. It was near a house near where I live. So this particular man I met, I knew he was a little older than me, and I knew him, and I thought, oh, he cute, whatever. He's talking about, let's go take a walk. I'll walk you home. And see, they didn't have cell phones back then. And so I'm thinking, oh, I just live around the corner. It's going to be all right. He's going to walk me home. So this particular gentleman, my brothers and them knew him and everything, you know. I had a long, pretty coat that I had got for the holiday. My father had bought me a long, pretty white, purple coat with a white hood. It was sharp. I mean, and, you know, I was out. My one friend, she met this guy. He took her home. And, you know, I said, okay, he's going to walk me home, this gentleman was. So he walked down the street, and he started pulling on to me, why don't you come over to my house, he said to me. He said, why don't you come over to my house? He said, because my mother going to be there or something. And I said, I'm not going over your house. I said, you said you're going to walk me home. And it's about 12 midnight. Because I was supposed to have been home by 12:30. My father was working. He told my brothers that they were supposed to wait for their call. I was supposed to call them when I left the neighbor's house. They had the party. My friend, you know, mom and them house. And I'm thinking I'm all, you know, I got, you know, a little milk around my nose, you know, around my breath, thinking I was all that. I mean, we all go there in our growing up, in our youth. You know, we want to buck our parents to a certain degree, and I never do that again. Like I said, he pulled my coat and was trying to drag me. And so what I did, I had these boots on. They had go-go boots back then, and they were like real shiny black boots. They're called go-go boots. And I had big heel on. I took my foot and I punched him. And I started running up the street. And the Most High God was with me, because this man was in a cab. And he drove me home around the corner. And my father was wondering what had happened. They was like, where was you at? You didn't call. What happened to you? And I fell down. I had a skin on my knee. And I told my father what happened. He said, he didn't rape you, did you? I said, oh, no. I said, I got away from him. I said, he was trying, Daddy, to get me to come over there, you know. Make a long story short. And my brothers were mad because they said they were going to go get him. They was going to go. I do believe they did get him. I think they beat him up or something because I heard later on what had happened to the man. But I know they, you know. So they protected me. But it was my fault when I look at it because I was told not to do this particular thing. I was allowed to go to the party. But I was supposed to have called my brothers from the phone there and called and let them know come get me. And I didn't do that. I seen this gentleman that I knew in the community. He's like a year older or two than me, you know. And very nice looking. I was like, oh, he's cute, you know. He gonna walk me home, this type of thing. And he tried to, like I said, grab me. Thank God, you know, I knew my little karate techniques that I was learning back then even. And I was able to get away from him. And so after that, my father, he did take me to the hospital to make sure I was okay. And I was okay. He kept saying, he didn't rape you. My brothers, they're mad anyway. They already saying what they gonna do. So in that instance, you got to have that protection. Because I had my family, like I said, my brothers are there and my father, you know, to take care of this situation. It was dealt with, but at the same time, it was on me. Then nothing happened to me. I thank, praise God for that. But I had the strong family unit. That's what I'm trying to say, but really helped me through this. And I realized, from then I learned early on, you know, not to be trusting of too many people when I'm out at a social function. You know what I'm saying? By the time I got to college, I was well versed in that one little incident that made me see. Because, you know what I'm saying, I knew in the back of my mind, but I had that guidance when I got home. You know, my daddy asked me, he said, well, you're supposed to call your brothers. You know what I'm saying? My brothers, they mad. You know, Jan, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that, Janet? Why'd you do that? That type of thing. So, I just say that we need that. The youth need that guidance and they need that nurturing. Not just the parents. Parents need more learning and guidance as well nowadays too. The girls must be protected. They must learn how to act in social functions. Young men as well, how to treat and guide and respect one another. And that's what needs to be done right now. And metaphysics, spiritualistic, holistic teachings must now begin to come forward. And these are one of the things that I do. And this is what I do in helping the youth, trying to heal our communities. So I want to thank you once again for listening. And I hope the words that I said will inspire ourselves to want to do more, try to help one another and help our youth. So I want to end by saying, in order to do what we must learn to take care of ourselves first in the proper mental, physical, and spiritual way, to make ourselves a better people, not just for our children and our grandchildren, but ourselves, our culture as a whole, and for our international. We have to heal the whole world, as Michael Jackson said. So I want to end out, close out as I left you in peace and love. And any questions or comments, just contact me at Moabitess104. Moabitess104. And I want to thank you all for listening. Peace and blessings. Namaste.